It's the Friday Noontime webcast from Facebook Live from Mighty Fine Guitars in Lafayette, California. Whew, busy morning, doggone. All kinds of folks come in. The place is either a tumbleweed town or a block party, and nothing in between. Had a whole bunch of people in this morning, one of whom brought me something remarkable. There's another guitar I want to show you today. Today's a twofer. Today's going to be a twofer. Oh, and let me make sure that we're rocking here. Hi, everyone. Come on in. It's the Friday Noontime webcast. Yeah, it looks like things are happening. Good, good. Two guitars to show you today. One by a fairly local builder named Frank Truncale, who is a very scientific gentleman that knows his way around the science of guitar building in ways that I can only imagine. I can barely imagine. This is his offering, the SSM. This guitar has been in the shop for a little while at $8,200. It's on sale. It's on a huge sale, which is why I want to feature it just for the next couple of days through the Christmas season for $5,999, and it is fantastico. I hope I can get it in the picture here. A little guitar with a huge voice. Remember that little character on Felix the Cat, Vavoom? Little tiny guy about this big, and he'd say Vavoom, and mountains would fall down. This is like that. That's quite wonderful and hugely surprising for a guitar this size. This is, let me give you the specs, Bear Claw Engelmann spruce top, zircote back and sides. Lovely. Look at that. And here's what you get to look at. This lovely landscaping through here. This is the part of the guitar you get to look at. Ebony fretboard, black pearl purfling, 13 frets to the body, which is kind of only one of the unusual things about this guitar. You may have noticed the bridge is very different, only as big as it needs to be to support the bracing underneath, which is, how many struts is this? 5 struts. So that's like, I'm going to have to see if I can make this work. Can you see that? This is what the bracing looks like inside that guitar. And see that little diamondy bit kind of in the middle of that photograph? That is sitting directly under this bridge. Frank knows his stuff. Frank comes in here every once in a while with some sort of app on his phone, and he taps the tops of all the guitars to get the tap tone frequencies. And he knows his way around the dipole and the tripole and the Helmholtz frequency and all that kind of stuff with shake tables, Chladni patterns. The proof is in the pudding. You know, there was a show here, not a show, a demonstration, a monthly meeting of the Northern California Association of Luthiers years and years ago. And guys would come in and say, well, here's my offering. I'm just building from the Martin pattern book, or I'm building this type of guitar, that type of guitar. And some guys came in and said, well, you know, I've been building for a while, and all I do is I just take a chunk of wood and carve away everything that doesn't look like a guitar, and that's how I build. And Frank got up there and said, well, the dipole and the tripole and the Helmholtz frequency and the Chladni patterns and all the rest. And a hush went over the room. The guy knows his stuff. And like I say, the proof is in the pudding. This guitar plays great, sounds great. And his couch size. You could sit back on the couch and get a lot of sports watching done. A lot of Creature from the Black Lagoon could get watched playing this guitar. Oh, back to the specs. I got distracted. 5-strut interlocking bracing falsate lattice bracing that you saw in the photograph there. Wingless bridge, removable magnetic armrest. Ta-da! You don't like it, you don't have to have it on there. But what it does is one of these kind of head-slappy things that a lot of builders are incorporating nowadays is some sort of armrest so that your big fat forearm doesn't squash the top of the guitar that's trying to vibrate. Makes good sense, I'd say. So if you like it, it's there. If you don't like it, you can pop it right off. It's magnetic. Like that. I'll leave it off for a second. Del Corazon eye inlay with pearl, ebony, and silver. Frank's into eyes. I don't know if he's one of those Illuminati type characters or what, but his guitars frequently feature eyes. It's quite wonderful. This guitar is a little heavy for its size, but I think, Frank, tell me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure he'll jump on here soon if he's not on here yet. Is this one of your guitars that has mass-loaded sides? Sometimes Frank, in his experimentation on various guitars, will put lead weights on the sides of the guitar to stiffen them, to keep them from vibrating. The idea being, if I have this right, Frank, to drive all the energy to the top, so you're not, in a sense, wasting string energy on the sides. It's kind of what Guild Guitars has done with doubled up sides, kind of what Propsum Guitars has done, Bojo guitars. Laminated sides, the idea being, presumably, I think, to drive the string energy to the top instead of, in a sense, wasting string energy vibrating the sides, which don't make that much sound. A little thing that's tough to see, but can you see it right here? The fingerboard essentially floats on top of the body here rather than being pasted down. So you're getting the top of the whole top vibrating instead of kind of the Martin principle. I say the Martin principle has always been, well, there's not that much sound to be gotten out of the upper bout, so let's just put a big brace underneath there and paste the fingerboard extension down on top of it. Keep it from vibrating. It's all right. Some guys, including Frank and including Kevin Corcoran, have decided, let's get everything vibrating. Use every last square inch. And just playing this thing, the volume, there's a kind of a cool disconnect going on. I'm feeling a tiny guitar that sounds like this. And I'm not hitting it hard. Truncale. This guitar was $8,200. For the next few days, it's $59.99. Come and get it. The other guitar I want to show you today is literally, and I hate to use that term the way the young people do, but this guitar literally rolled in the door about 20 minutes ago. And it's by a gentleman named Louis Debret, D-E-B-R-E-T. French pronunciation, he says, I don't know if there's much French blood left in there, but it's pronounced Debret. This is an OM, and I'm very impressed with this guitar as well. An OM in myrtle and Adirondack. Slightly thinner body than an OM, and just sounds great. Highly articulate. A gentleman was in here a few minutes ago playing it. Another fellow was in. He said, sophisticated. The sound is sophisticated. I would concur. Every note stands alone. There's not a lot of saturation going on here, which is great for fingerstyle in particular. And it's got this nice fluty quality up top here in the middle and the high strings. Plenty of power down there, but this kind of cool flutiness up here. Sometimes I think it's useful to try and describe sound, which is really hard, because there are really only two terms that describe sound: louder and quieter. Everything else is some kind of analogy, metaphor, simile. But I think sometimes using vowel sounds to describe a particular sonic quality of a guitar, some guitars sound sort of like a flat vowel, an ah or an e. This one's got a roundness to it. Ooh. Really intense articulation, which means that the intonation has to be spot on, and it is on this guitar. It really intonates great, even up high. Really clear and pure, right on top of the harmonics that should be underlying it. Really terrific. About that. Lovely guitar. Can I tell you a little bit more about it and let y'all go out to recess? It's an OM size, essentially, Oregon myrtle, back and sides. Really lovely. I've become a big fan of myrtle. I've had a few myrtle guitars come through, and they've all been really great, especially for fingerstyle. Adirondack spruce top. Quite lovely. Snakewood bindings, bridge and headstock. Turquoise inlay. I'm not sure you can see it in this light. These inlays are turquoise. Lovely. 25.4-inch scale length, long scale, and 1 11/16 across the nut. Goto tuners, and I think that catches you up. This gentleman says, I've been building and repairing guitars since 2009, mostly in the Sierra foothills, until I moved to Santa Rosa a few years back. He worked in Sparky Kramer's shop, Randall Kramer, although, as Sparky himself told me, nobody calls me Randall except my mother, and only when she's mad at me. Sparky Kramer's a great builder. I've had a couple of his guitars through, and have one in the shop now out of mango wood. But let's not go too far afield from this guitar, Debret, D-E-B-R-E-T. Again, it's going to be a little hard to see, but I really like this treatment of the way the volute, this little pointy bit here, flows from the neck into the headstock. Can you see that? Kind of, sort of. I'll see if I can get some better light on it here. I'm trying to look at the monitors at the same time. Really elegant, this little bit here. It's nice for your thumb when you're up there in first position. Well, there it is. Let me see who's here and say hello. And hello, all 14 of you, whoever you are. Comments or questions, as usual, just so that we don't keep you hanging on the line too long. Post them down below. I'll be glad to answer any comments or questions in the thread. Come back to it. If the video has jiggled around or the audio has jiggled around, come back to it later, because invariably once the whole file goes up, the whole video and audio file goes up, it renders properly. So if things have been a little jiggly between here in Lafayette, California and wherever you are, then come back later, and I think the whole video will be intact, and there'll be no gaps or spaces. We see who all's here. Thanks for joining me on this. There's Nancy Paul, Jeff Hayes, Tim Van Ram, very good. Hi, Bunny. Oh, very good. Bunny Barnes has got a show at 4 o'clock, folks. If you're not hip to Bunny, get hip to Bunny. Bunny Barnes. Chris Truzzi, how are you, Chris? Great to see you. Hello to the whole gang. Wonderful sound man, terrific fella. Dennis Scannell, Michael Ferrucci. What's not in your head, Michael Ferrucci? Oh, is it breaking up? Oh, no. Frank, are you talking about the audio? Was the audio breaking up? Perhaps I'm overdriving it with your very loud, small guitar. Frank, are you still there? Let me back up a little bit and play the mighty Truncale from a bit more of a distance. Does it sound better now? Somebody help me out. It's still a little hot. Interesting. Excuse me, folks. I'm going to make a tiny adjustment here. I think it might be just the native volume of this guitar overdriving things a bit. I'll try cranking it down a little bit and back up a little farther. The door open when it got cold in here. What a delightful guitar. A totally delightful, surprising guitar. So small, so huge sonically. Small physically and huge sonically. Complex, interesting, different. And proof that a guitar that isn't built to Martin specs and to Martin design specifications can still sound great. I've had a few of Frank's guitars come through, and they always sound terrific. And more on the way as well, I suspect, after the first of the year. But $5,999 versus the original $8,200. Worth it at either price, but especially a great steal at $59.99, folks, here at Ralph Spoilsport Motors in the city of Emphysema. All right, that's it, kids. I think that's it. Let me check and make sure there are no other pressing comments or questions. Hey, Glenn. There's my partner, Glenn Pomyanik. And sophisticated, yes. The sophisticated guitar as well. That's right. So today we saw, just to review, boys and girls, we saw Frank Truncale, the SSM, on sale for $59.99. And we saw the sophisticated Debret that just walked in the door 40 minutes ago for $37.50. Something for everyone here at Mighty Fine Guitars. And surprising that guitar this guitar sings. So if you have a light touch, folks, this would be a guitar for you. Because you would still sound bigger than normal because this guitar just roars in a nice, pleasant way, not unpleasantly so. Big, huge sound out of a little tiny body. Thanks for tuning in. If you've got comments or questions, list them down below, and I'll get to them. Not IRL, eventually, but not in real time. In real life. I'm going to hang up for today, folks. Next week, I've got, I think, another guitar came in today. It's a Tony Yamamoto 12-string. So stay tuned for that next week on Friday. I'll be in the shop over the weekend, over the holiday weekend, with the exception of Christmas Day itself. I'm a fisherman and can't catch fish unless I'm in the boat. So come on in. I'll be here, regular hours this next week. Tuesday and Wednesday are for lessons, of course, but Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I'll be here. And my schedule is kind of light on Tuesday and Wednesday for lessons because so many folks are up skiing or doing whatever people do this time of year. And I'll be in the shop, so if you want to make an appointment to come in on Tuesday or Wednesday, easily done. All right, then. Thanks for tuning in to the Friday Noontime Webcast. Your old pal Stevie Coyle here, signing off for now. Down the road, everybody. Happy holidays.